Okay, I'm here today to talk about Silenor. Silenor is also known as doxepin. Silenor is a tricyclic antidepressant. It is a new drug in the sense that the FDA only recently approved it. However, the chemical compound of doxepin has been around for a long time. You may be wondering, why am I talking about a drug which has been around for a long period of time? Well, the reason is because a pharmaceutical representative came by the pharmacy where I'm at and told the entire staff that it was a great drug. Now, it does have certain advantages. It's not a controlled drug. Being a tricyclic antidepressant, you're not going to have to worry about becoming addicted because normally that the anticholinergic side effects, the drowsiness side effects, make this drug to be not very addictive. Now, however, the drowsiness and the increase in somnolence is exactly why the drug is marketed the way it's marketed. This is actually kind of common in the pharmacy world. If you have a chemical compound and it causes a side effect, sometimes the side effect is desirable, and so therefore the drug is then marketed for that side effect. Think of diphenhydramine, an antihistamine, which causes drowsiness and somnolence, and it is in drugs such as Tylenol PM or Benadryl. A lot of times people would say, "Oh, I can't fall asleep, and I just need something, to help me for a day or two because I have an exam coming up. Okay, let me pop a couple Benadryl, and then I'll be fine. And then I'll stop taking the Benadryl, and then the receptors in my brain will not be encountering the chemical which stimulates them, and then after a period, you can then take the drug again, and you can then get that intense side effect happening." Now, some of the more common side effects include drowsiness, infection, hypertension, fatigue, insomnia, dizziness, and emotional changes. So, if a person has low immune system function, such as a person who got a transplant, a person who has HIV, a person who is taking any cancer drugs, due to the increase in upper respiratory tract infections, we should probably avoid this drug. Think as an alternative, generic Ambien. Think a benzodiazepine, possibly. Think azolpiclone. Those would be good alternatives. For a person who has hypertension, even though this is only a 3% risk of incidence, I would not want to take any drug which is going to increase my blood pressure because that would allow for organ damage to occur. Similarly, if I don't want to feel it, now I know that the president of the company said that drowsiness was not a really big concern. However, clinical pharmacology states that drowsiness does occur at 6 or 9% incidence. So I would say to myself, is my job going to be impaired if I'm drowsy next morning? Because even though Benadryl is a well-known, regarded as well-safe drug, which is over the counter, I was talking to a friend who is a pharmacist, and he said that when he took Benadryl, he would be drowsy the next day. And Benadryl works by blocking the histamine receptors. Now, according to both the literature that I got from the pharmaceutical rep and according to clinical pharmacology, one of the ways that doxepin works is by attacking the histamine receptor. Now, fatigue, hopefully I would be getting the fatigue a short time after I'm taking the pill. So hopefully I'm trying to get the fatigue when I want the fatigue. Ideally, I'm not going to be getting the insomnia and nausea. Unfortunately, nausea is a relatively common side effect for almost any drug. Now, with regard to the emotional change, if I would have a suicidal ideation, I would hope that this would be obvious to my provider. I would hope that who's ever writing drugs for me would not be saying, "Oh, yeah, this person is emotionally unstable. Let me, say, I'll just give him the drug because it's only 1.8% chance. Well, okay, that's like an almost a 92.2% chance that I'm not going to have or 98.2% chance that I'm not going to have the problem. But if I'm an emotional person and I'm not completely stable, do you really want to be giving me a drug which could have adverse side effects? Now, the bigger concern for me is more the cost. Because Doxepin generic can be bought at my store for about $23 or $25. Whereas the brand Silenor has to be bought for roughly $230. Now, the company is really generous. It gives you a $25 reduction bonus. And you can use that $25 up to 3 different times in 3 different prescriptions. However, knowing that I have the manual dexterity and I have the ability to chop a 10 milligram pill in halves or quarters and then bring the dosage of the pill down to 2.5 or 5 milligrams, I would be more inclined to not spend that $170 or $200 difference, because knowing that I had spent that much money to get a pill might keep me up at night when the actual intended effect of the pill is to make me fall asleep. So if a person does not have the manual dexterity, they might seriously consider this drug. Also, knowing that the FDA allows for a 20% variability, okay, if the person had tried and had failed some of the drugs, such as Ambien, and they were very irritable and they wanted to fall asleep, and they had the money to pay for the difference in price, okay, go ahead. Spend the money, because unfortunately, until the FDA specifies that all brands and all generics will have a very little variability, the binders and the various other excipients that keep that drug in one piece, in a generic, those extra drugs are far cheaper. That's why if you see a generic, it's far more likely that you'll be seeing dust, where parts of the pills have just broken apart. I thank you for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed this